Hey, it's Kim Howerton with the Pecan Sour Cream Cupcake. This is a fabulous treat, especially at the holiday times. We're going to start by mixing most of the dry ingredients for the cake layer. There is almond flour, coconut flour, some baking powder, and a little xanthan gum. We're going to blend that up with a fork until it is super mixed and there are no lumps. And then we're gonna set it aside and start on the next part. Grab your butter, your softened butter, and cream it with your sweetener. I used confectioner Swerve. You can use whatever you want. Once that's thoroughly creamed together, add your eggs. Oh, by the way, all the quantities for this recipe are in the description, so just open that up if you want to see the recipe. So add your eggs, beat those in. Once they're incorporated, you're going to add a bit of sour cream and almond milk. I just put it in the same bowl there. That's why it looked weird and lumpy. It's just a combination of almond milk and sour cream. And then once that's incorporated, I'm gonna start beating in my dry ingredients that I mixed in the last step, but a little bit at a time. So a scoopful, beat, a scoopful, beat, a scoopful, beat. So you're beating it in batches until it ends up all the way incorporated. And then once it looks nice and creamy, like you see here, I'm stirring it up so you can get the texture, you're ready to set that aside and start the next step. If it doesn't look like this, if it looks a little too dry, just add a couple tablespoons of that almond milk or whatever kind of nut milk you're using. Set that aside, and we're gonna make the cream cheese layer, which is just softened cream cheese, an egg, and some sweetener and vanilla. Yeah, that's a very awkward spatula moment when what do I do with this? Anyway, you need a fork to beat this well because it's got the egg, you gotta beat it all together. So beat that together until it is completely smooth, scraping the sides and the bottom to make sure you haven't missed any spots. And then we're going to set that aside. Now I'm gonna butter a pan. I like to use a glass one. I know metal bakes a little bit better. With a glass one, I can see the bottom and see it's cooked. I'm just gonna spread, but this is an 8x8, that's what we got here. We're gonna spread that cake batter in the bottom, cleaning up any edges so it looks nice and pretty, and your fingers are the best bet there. Then I'm gonna top that with the cream cheese layer. Again, making everything as level as possible with that spatula. Now I'm gonna make my topping, which is simply chopped pecans or pecans, some cinnamon, a little bit of salt, and some brown sugar Swerve or a similar type sweetener, whatever you like, but a brown sugary one is gonna make a better taste in my opinion. Then once that's all mixed together, add your butter, melted butter, and combine completely. And then I'm just very carefully spooning that in small amounts over the surface so we get a really nice even layer. And you can kind of see I'm just sort of pushing it down with the back of my fork. I don't want to submerge it completely. I still want it to be on the top, but I don't want it to fall off, right? I want it to be incorporated. So I just kind of pat it down just a little bit, and I'm doing a very methodical job here, filling in all the little gaps because I want a nice even layer. So release your inner type A person. Once you've done those steps, you're ready to pop it into the oven. Your cake is done when you press it. You get a nice browning on the edges, but it's not burnt. And then when you press it, it's nice and bouncy. You don't want this to be overly dry. You want sort of a, I don't know what word to use except moist. It's sort of a not dry cake, and you can see the edges are nice and brown. It looks fully cooked, and it's got that nice spring in its step. And then you're gonna wanna chill it a bit. Just let it cool to room temperature before you slice it. And then you can slice that into squares. It's a coffee cake. It's a little crumbly, messy, so be prepared for some little nut pieces to fall off or crumbs to fall off. That's part of the beauty of a coffee cake, but there you go. Super simple. It stores really well in the fridge. It's a really easy special treat. So I hope that you enjoy.